Let me tell you a Bible story that most people think they know, but almost nobody has ever felt. It's about a night when God didn't speak, a night when heaven went quiet, a night that broke a man and then rebuilt him forever. This is not a story about miracles first. It's a story about silence, and it begins in a place no one wants to be. Jacob was alone, not lonely, alone. No family, no servants, no protection, no plan, just darkness and the sound of his own breath. He had run all day, run from his brother, run from his past, run from a mistake that couldn't be undone. Jacob had stolen his brother's blessing, not by accident, not by confusion, by deception. And now every step behind him felt like judgment catching up. When night fell, he had no tent, no fire, no comfort, so he picked up a stone and used it as a pillow. Let that sink in. A stone. This is where many people miss the weight of the moment. Jacob was not praying. He was not worshiping. He was not expecting a vision. He was exhausted, scared, and spiritually numb. And that's when God chose to show up. Not when Jacob was strong, not when he was righteous, not when he deserved it, but when he had nothing left. As Jacob slept, he dreamed. And in that dream, something impossible appeared. A ladder, not leaning against a wall, not built by hands, a ladder stretching from earth, all the way into heaven. Angels were moving on it, up and down, like heaven was busy even when earth felt abandoned, and above it all, God stood, not shouting, not threatening, not accusing, just present. And God spoke promises, not punishments, land, protection, a future, a blessing bigger than Jacob's failures. God didn't say, "You lied." God didn't say, "You cheated." God didn't say, "Fix yourself first." He said, "I am with you." When Jacob woke up, his first words were not praise, they were fear. "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." That sentence alone tells us something terrifying and beautiful. God can be present, and we can be completely unaware. Jacob named the place Bethel, house of God. But here's what most sermons skip. Jacob didn't change overnight. He didn't become holy the next morning. He didn't suddenly stop scheming. He didn't become brave. He kept running. Years passed. Jacob worked. Jacob married. Jacob struggled, and one day, the thing he feared most became unavoidable. He had to face his brother again, the brother he betrayed, the brother who once planned to kill him. Jacob sent gifts ahead. He divided his family. He prepared for disaster, and then, once again, he was left alone. Different night, same loneliness. Only this time, God didn't come in a dream. God came in a fight. Out of the darkness, a man appeared. No name, no warning. And Jacob wrestled him. Not for minutes, not for an hour. All night, no crowd, no explanation. Just sweat, pain, and resistance. This is one of the most mysterious moments in Scripture. Jacob didn't know who he was fighting, but he knew one thing. He could not let go. At daybreak, the stranger touched Jacob's hip. Just a touch. And Jacob collapsed. His strength vanished in a second. That's important. God didn't overpower Jacob with force. He removed the illusion of control. Jacob clung to him and said words that echo through history. "I will not let you go unless you bless me." Think about that. Jacob wasn't demanding wealth. He wasn't asking for safety. He wasn't asking to win. He was asking for identity. And the stranger asked a question that changed everything. "What is your name?" That sounds simple, but it wasn't. Because Jacob's name meant deceiver, heel grabber, manipulator. God was asking him to say out loud who he had been. Jacob answered, "Jacob." And God replied, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have wrestled with God and with men and have prevailed." Notice what God didn't say. He didn't say, You won because you were strong. Jacob was limping. He won because he refused to let go. That limp stayed with him for the rest of his life. Every step reminded him of that night. And that's the part people don't like. We want blessing without the limp, transformation without the scar. But scars are proof of encounter. Jacob crossed into the morning changed. Same body, weaker, same future, uncertain, but a new name. When he finally met his brother, nothing happened the way he feared. No revenge, no bloodshed, only forgiveness. Jacob later said something remarkable. After seeing his brother's face, he said, "Seeing you is like seeing the face of God." Think about the journey. He once saw God in a dream, then he wrestled God in the dark, then he recognized God in reconciliation. This is the pattern. God meets us in silence, transforms us in struggle, reveals himself in restoration. Now let me bring this to you, because this story isn't ancient history. It's a mirror. Some of you are in the stone pillow season. You're tired. You're disappointed. You're not even asking for miracles anymore. You're just trying to sleep. Others are in the wrestling season. You're praying, but it feels like resistance. You're faithful, but still limping. You're holding on, even when strength is gone. And some of you are about to meet the thing you've been avoiding. A conversation, a decision, a truth. Here's what this story teaches us, and this is crucial. God does not wait for your perfection. God waits for your honesty. Jacob became Israel, not when he won, but when he admitted who he was. And God still works that way. He doesn't ask you to be fearless. He asks you to be real. He doesn't ask you to understand everything. He asks you not to let go. And sometimes, the blessing doesn't look like success. Sometimes, it looks like a limp. Because a limp keeps you humble. A limp keeps you dependent. A limp keeps you close. Jacob walked into his future slower, but stronger where it mattered. If you feel like God has been silent, remember the latter. Heaven is active even when you can't hear it. If you feel like life is a fight, remember the wrestling. God is not against you. He is shaping you. And if you feel marked by pain, remember the limp. It means you survived an encounter. You weren't abandoned. You were changed. Tonight, wherever you are, you may feel alone. But Jacob felt alone too, and God was closer than he realized. Sometimes God doesn't shout. Sometimes he waits in the dark until you refuse to let go.